to the flag. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started with Mr. Canty and the reading, I just want to explain to everybody on television and in the audience, we usually don't dress like this for our meeting, but it's a dress-down meeting, and we all chip in for the South Shore Community Action Council. And we did it in the building this week also, and I think we raised, what, $500, so that's what it's about. So, thank you. Mr. Canty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Consistent with modifications made to the open meeting law by the Legislature of the Commonwealth, this meeting is taking place in a hybrid format. Members of the public are joining us here in person at Town Hall. They may also be joining us virtually over the web via the Zoom webinar platform. Members of the public that wish to observe the meeting may do so through either of those methods or may watch the meeting on Comcast Channel 9 or Verizon Channel 47. Members that are joining us virtually or in person may also participate in public comment if they wish to do so. The Zoom webinar login information is contained on the website. It is contained on the agenda that is posted on the town website. And members of the public are also reminded that consistent with Massachusetts general law, any person may make a video or audio recording of an open session of a meeting of the Select Board after notifying the chair, subject to reasonable requirements of the chair, so as to not interfere with the conduct of the meeting. At the beginning of the meeting, the chair shall inform other attendees of any recordings. We are aware of a recording being made by the local scene at present. We are not aware of any other recordings at this time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Canty. At this time, we're going to have the police department swearing-in ceremony. Chief Flynn and Kelly McElrath, town clerk.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. And just to follow up on you, Mr. Chairman, I usually don't look like this, but as part of a fundraiser, we make a donation to Veteran Services for the month of November. So
Thank you.
hope that explains it. I thank you all for having us here tonight. Introduction of our two newest officers and our two newest promotions. I'll start with our two newest officers. Officer Fu-Ming Chen joined the ranks of the Plymouth Police Department on July 25th, 2024. Officer Chen is a graduate of the Taishan County No. 1 High School in Guangdong Province, China, in the Plymouth Police Academy. He was formerly employed by the U.S. Postal Service. Officer Chen is currently assigned to the department's field training program on the 4 p.m. to midnight shift. Officer Michael White joined the ranks of the Plymouth Police Department on July 25th, 2024. Officer White is a graduate of the Plymouth South High School and the Plymouth Police Academy. He was formerly employed by the Plymouth County Sheriff's Department and is currently assigned to the department's field training program on the 4 to midnight shift. Both these officers will be completing their field training this week, and as of Sunday, I have it on good knowledge that they will be assigned to single-man patrol effective Sunday. Sergeant Seth Johnson was promoted on October 6, 2024, and currently serves as a patrol supervisor on the midnight to 8 a.m. shift. Sergeant Johnson has been a member of the Plymouth Police Department since 2009. He served in the Street Crimes Unit from 2014 until his reassignment to the Detective Division in 2020. He holds a master's degree in criminal justice and serves as a military police officer in the United States Marine Corps. Lieutenant Robert Ferguson was promoted on October 6, 2024, and is currently assigned as the shift commander on the midnight to 8 shift. Lieutenant Ferguson has been a member of the Plymouth Police Department since 1997. He was promoted to the rank of sergeant in 2005, where he was assigned as a patrol supervisor until 2023, when he was reassigned as the department's accreditation manager. He holds a master's degree in criminal justice and serves as a military police officer in the Army National Guard.
Congratulations, gentlemen. Could you raise your right hand and repeat after me? I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance to and will uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and that I will fairly and equitably execute the laws thereof within the extent of my authority and jurisdiction, so help me God. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as a, state your rank, of the town of Plymouth Police Department, and I will obey and be bound by such rules and regulations as now are or may be from time to time established for the government of the town of Plymouth Police Department. So help me God. One last paragraph. I state your name. Hereby accept the position of, state your rank, in and for the town of Plymouth Police Department of the town of Plymouth. Congratulations.
Congratulations, be safe. Congratulations, be safe. Congratulations, be safe. Congratulations, be safe. Thank you so much.
Again, I thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you. Well, I told him around 6:15, so he's busy right now. Maybe we'll go along to the other stuff, and when he comes in, we'll make him feel real important, right? Yeah. Well, get on the wagon. All right. We're going to come back to 2024 America's Hometown because we are running a little early. So if we can move on to the licenses and administrative notes.
Mr. Chairman, unless my colleagues have any questions on any of the licenses, I would make a motion at this time to approve the listed licenses as a group.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Canty, second by Mr. Golden. Discussion? Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Mr. Bletzer?
Yes.
Mr. Canty?
Yes.
And Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Unanimous. Two administrative notes.
Unless my colleagues have any questions, I would make a motion to approve the two listed administrative notes as a group, Mr. Chairman.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Canty, second by Mr. Golden. Discussion? Seeing none. Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Canty?
Yes.
Mr. Bletzer?
Yes.
Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Okay. Agenda item, Cultural Council reappointment, 1 3-year term. Patricia Cronin? Okay.
Do we have anybody online?
Is there anyone, is Patricia Cronin online? The applicant? I thought you were going that way, I'm sorry. You are now.
She's supposed to be online. It doesn't appear that she is yet, at least. This is Patricia Cronin, right?
Yes,
I don't see her online.
we were expecting her. We were expecting her, though.
There he is.
Do we want to move to?
Well, look who just came in.
Oh,
We can
okay.
come back to it now. Okay.
Oh, she needs something for him, too.
Oh, okay. Whatever, yeah, it's okay. All right. That's really all we got that. But what if there's somebody online for that?
No, that's true.
Should it say,
Derek's up there
excuse
for
me,
town
gentlemen?
managers.
She's gonna get something for Ollie, right?
What do we do? We could do the amendments.
Yeah, let's do that, we can do, Jesse's here too.
Okay.
So if you wanna, go ahead, Victor. Yeah, so we're gonna,
Okay. Is Todd Jesse in the audience
Yes,
for the
right there.
aquaculture? Do you want to take the,
Evening, Todd Jesse, reapplying for my aquaculture permit. For another 10 years, right?
yes.
Okay, then. Any questions for Mr. Jesse? Okay, seeing none, wish of the board.
Make a motion to approve.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Blitzer, second by Mr. Golden. Discussion? Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Mr. Blitzer?
Yes.
Mr. Canty?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
And myself, yes, unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Jesse.
Thank you very much.
Proposed amendment to the House 4850.
All right, so in your packet this evening, the board should have three amendments, proposed amendments for the special legislation that was submitted to the state after the April town meeting. This legislation is to add two additional licenses, alcoholic beverage licenses to the town. The three proposed amendments, in your packet, you'll see as far as the title, the state proposes to add the words "not to be drunk on the premises" in the title. The second amendment they are proposing, you will see on line 5, to add Section B, upon approval of and under conditions set by the licensing authority of the town of Plymouth. And then the last proposed amendment, the state is proposing that we add, you'll see starting under line 23, Section E, all licenses granted under this act shall be issued within 3 years after the effective date of this act, provided, however, that a license originally granted within the time period may be granted to a new applicant under subsection C or D thereafter. So these are the proposed amendments, as you know from the article. Any clerical changes made by the legislature can be and shall be approved by the select board, so that's why we're bringing it before you this evening.
Any questions? Wish of the board?
I'd make a motion to accept the proposed amendments.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Canty, second by Mr. Blitzer. Discussion.
Yes.
Mr. Blitzer.
So, Mr. Town Manager, so if we approve this tonight, what's the next step that happens after this?
So, assuming the select board approves these three changes, we will send this, the approval back to Rep. Muratori's office tomorrow morning. She will then shepherd those changes back to the Senate. This legislation has already been approved on the House side, so she'll send this back to the Senate for final approval. This legislative session ends on December 31st, so assuming they can get it approved within the next 4 to 5 weeks, this will come back to the town by no later than January 1st, and we'll have 3 years to issue those 2 additional licenses.
So my comment will be on this is that I hope that the state will, I'm sure it's going to be approved tonight because those are very simple changes. But I hope that they can approve this quickly. It's been quite a while since this article was passed by town meeting. And I believe that we're losing tax revenue to other towns in the south part of our town. So I'm hoping that we can get this. And there's also a need for our residents. It saves them from driving 15 minutes to especially if it's inclement weather, to get something that, they should be able to get right in their own town, so easier. So hopefully they can get that approved and get back to us so we can get these licenses issued. So anything you can do to speed that along would be great.
Yeah, we'll get this back to, again, State Rep. Muratori's office tomorrow morning. So knowing that the session ends December 31st, we feel confident that this special legislation will get approved prior to the ending of the session.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Golden? No. Good. Anyone else? Okay. Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Mr. Blitzer?
Yes,
Mr. Canty?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
And myself, yes, unanimous. Okay, now we're gonna go to the, are we ready for Mr. DiMacedo? Welcome, Molly.
Apologize, I'm not all dressed up for you guys. But I'm glad to be here, just to give you guys a little bit of tell you a little what's been going on. Obviously, most of you guys know, and some of you were on the board many, many million years ago, like Dickie. When we first started this endeavor, most of you guys are new, of course, I know. But I just wanted to tell you a little bit about what has been going on with us and what's happened in the past few years. And before I even do anything, I noticed there's some VSB people here, and I want to thank them because the last couple of years have been very, very helpful. And I really believe, personally, I've been doing this for 25 years now. There's really been a real partnership between the town and us to put on something that I think all of us are really proud of, and at this point that the nation's really proud of. And I'm really grateful because I realized many, many years ago, one person can't do this. It has to be really all of us coming together and believing in a vision and a goal that's bigger than all of us. And I think we've demonstrated that. We have people from all walks of life that come, volunteer, help, from all parts of the country that come and volunteer and help for this little town of Plymouth. And I also want to personally thank Derek. Derek has been very, very helpful to us. It's good to be able to have open communications with the town. We're all in this thing together, and I think it's really been a profound change. Some of the news is, obviously, we're live on ABC with Channel 5, and in the past few years, it started out as a little small thing when we reached a few, 1,000 people, and now we literally are reaching over 1 million people on TV. This year, they've increased our outreach to the nation. We're going to be seen in 29 markets across the country, from Sacramento to Texas to Florida, Oklahoma, you name it, Michigan. And that's a huge thing for us. So our little town, of course, Dickie knows this, I've always believed that nobody else should really own Thanksgiving rather than the town of Plymouth. It's ours. That's where it began, that's what it's all about. And not only has the nation begun here, but the whole tradition of Thanksgiving, everything that it represents, everything that it means, all the family values that we all think about when it comes to Thanksgiving is all wrapped up in the town of Plymouth. And I think the town of Plymouth ought to get credit for what it is and what it's been for so many years. So to me, I am personally grateful that we are able to reach that far today. Channel 5 has just recently gave us a new contract for 3 additional years now. They'll be televising live on ABC and all the affiliates. Last year, I think we were 22 or 23 affiliates across the country. This year, we're up to 29. So that's all good and positive signs, and I think that as we move forward, and I think people see it now as an event that's really about our community. And I tell you, people come from all over the place to come here. We have a huge group, I mean, they come from different parts of the world to come and to be a part of this. And they all tell me what a wonderful place the town of Plymouth is, you know, and I think it's great. I'm glad that I'm a part of the community, and I'm just grateful. And the things that have been happening have been phenomenal. So we work really hard, and I really want to thank the people that are not here, that you don't see. There are so many people that just volunteer. I mean, we have a little breakfast club that we have breakfast in the town of Kingston at Blueberry Muffin every Saturday morning, and about 5 to 10 guys, and then we come up and we work every, you know, Saturday at the floor pond on Hedge Road, and we build all these things that we build, and we want to present the very best of what we are as a community. So it's been challenging, it's been difficult, but in recent years, I'm really grateful that we together are putting on a really good show for the nation, and it's ours. And so if anyone has any questions, they can ask me, but really that's, you know, there's a whole presentation that gives you a whole idea of all the things we've done, the different floats. I think I remember when I first started this, I wanted to change the face of the parade to be more historical in sense. And I remember getting pushback that people aren't interested in history. And I've always felt that we have the best story in the world to tell. It's our story. And so, but as the time has gone on, people have really begun to really appreciate what we do when we tell the story of history. Significant moments in time in history in this great nation that has given us pause to be what? Thankful. It's Thanksgiving. So it all blends in. So we've been doing this for a long time, and every year we have different floats that signify really distinct things that make our country special. And this year, just to give you a quick highlight, we always have a theme within the theme. It's always history, but this year we're doing a thing, and it's about we are the world, and it's really about the children of the future. And that's really our main theme float this year, with other things that we're going to be doing as well. But so this is what we do. We're glad that we're in it together, and you guys have been helpful to me. I'm personally grateful because I've realized a long time ago I cannot lift it without everybody else helping, and all of you in different ways have helped me. And I'm grateful. As you know, I am. And I think the community is grateful, and I think the nation is grateful. And I want us to continue to build this, and hopefully someday they'll see it across the country in every affiliate. And they'll look at Plymouth, and we get, 2 hours on Saturday. We get 2 hours on Thursday morning, and, up in Maine and Vermont and all that, and then we get it across the country. So it's all good for our community. And I'm proud to just be a part of it. So thank you, and that's all I have unless somebody has some questions for me.
Any questions for Ollie?
Mr. Mahoney, you seem pretty quiet over there.
So Ollie, in our packet, we have a significant presentation on this Saturday. Could you just walk us through like the baseline of what's happening Friday and then on Saturday?
Yeah, it's really important for people to know that it's not just a one-day thing, it's a 3-day event. So Friday night we start, we have a concert at Memorial Hall, which is kind of a neat thing that begins the whole weekend. Of course, Saturday's the big day with the parade, all the waterfront festivals that we have. There's all kinds of things happening at the waterfront festivals. Of course, it's really great. All our hotels and our restaurants are filled, which is great for us. And even on Sunday, after the whole Saturday day, then Saturday night, we have a concert. You see all these great bands that come, especially alumni bands that come from, all different parts of the country to compete in a sense and I never really appreciated drum and bugle corps when I was growing up, but now that I see just how good these people are, and how talented they are in their art, it's amazing just how good they are. And I've really grown to love that whole thing. And this year, we're actually introducing a new thing. We're gonna start with 4 high school bands this year that we're gonna actually judge. And there's actually gonna be a recipient that will win the whole judgment, whoever is the best band. We have some from New York, New Jersey, I think, and then we have our own, of course, Plymouth High School, which will be great. New Hampshire will be here, and there's gonna be a cash prize for them. So we wanna build that as well. But the Saturday night concert is really great. People should come out to Saturday night. If you love drum corps, you need to come to Saturday night. It's just phenomenal. And of course, the Saturday thing too, one of the things that we really always pride ourselves on, we always make sure that we let the people who sacrifice the most know how much we appreciate them. So we always do things about the military. You've always seen it in our event, and we're never gonna stop doing that. I mean, I'm honored to be here in America, and I tell you, those men and women who've given everything need to always be honored, and we'll never stop doing that. So that's always an important part. And then, of course, on Sunday, we have a harvest market for all the people that want to get ready for Thanksgiving. Can come and shop for all local, groceries and farm fresh stuff, which is kind of really good. And the reason we've always done it on Saturday before Thanksgiving is because I think it's important that people have family time on Thanksgiving. So us having this event on the weekend before gives people still the ability to be able to go enjoy their families, be with their families on Thanksgiving Day. So it is a whole weekend of things, and we want people to come and take part in every part of it.
So I believe you served some time before on the Kingston Select Board?
Mhm.
Yeah, so
They kicked me out and they sent me to Plymouth.
So when you get elected to these positions, you're effectively, or the public perceives you to be in the business of fixing things instantaneously, especially financially, and it doesn't work that way. Really, you need to be consistent, long-term to get those great financial results. And this is exactly what you have done and continue to do. 25 or 30 years ago, you had this vision. It was just an idea, it was a seed, but you planted it. And, you broke through with Channel 5 and you continue to grow that and take, and you said it earlier, that Plymouth owns the story.
It does.
And I completely agree with you. And now you're up to almost 30 markets across the country. And, I can't thank you enough, and all of your supporters and volunteers for the contribution that you've made, not only to the to the community, but to this region.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to really say too is that we have a lot of locals. I mean, most of the sponsors that have been with us really from the beginning. I remember, just starting out. I mean, I remember the very first parade I did. I think our whole total budget might have been $30,000 or something like that. But and it's changed so much. But we've had local people and local companies and local corporations and local businesses that have been by our side all this time, and it never would have happened without them. And people have been very generous to us, and the more it has grown, of course, more people are excited about it, which is great. But I've never forget the people that were there from the beginning, because they were there at the beginning when nobody believed that we could do this. And so I'm grateful to all those mom and pops, all those people who sent me $50, $100, $10, and have made this thing. Hopefully someday we'll have enough money to really put on a tremendous, show. But I don't want it to get big, like, people always compare us to other parades in the nation. I'm not interested in becoming like other parades in the nation, because our story is a quaint story about a little town in America that began everything. And I think that story is unique to us. And so I wanted to continue to tell the story in just our quaint. We can never get big like Macy's. We can never become, we don't want to do that. We just want to be able to tell the story of what a great nation is. And we all know from small beginnings, right? Bradford said it right here in this very town. And I think that's what's important to us. Not only that, everything that I think our parade tries to share is embodied in the people that work with us. Volunteerism, sacrificing, honoring. All those things that are important, I think, to our culture is what our parade is about. And when you see all these people that nobody knows them, I called all the people that helped me, I call them the noble nobodies. Nobody knows them. They see my face all the time. They don't know the people that are behind me. They don't know the people that get up every morning, 2, 3 in the morning, or work through the night to make these things, be alive and do that. And we really pride ourselves in excellence. And all those qualities is America. So I think, to me, it's important to me, and I'm proud to be a part of it, because I think what we try to do and we try to embody, it really is what our nation is. It's about community. It's about helping one another. All those things is what our event is about. And so with, everyone pitching in and doing our thing, I think we all have a lot to be proud of. And I'm grateful. I have a grateful heart, as you know, John. I'm really grateful that we're able to do this. And I want the nation to know that it can be done in every community across this land. People come together and do things. So, and we're an example of that.
So last question, how's the forecast looking for you?
I will be on my knees tonight. It seems, it hasn't rained for 3, 4 months, 2 months, but it looks like it's supposed to have 3 days of rain, but we'll see what happens. I can't control those things. I'm not in, in that part of the business. So I just, trust that it'll be good. We've never had been rained out in 25 years, so we'll see what happens. We'll have it no matter what. We'll go down the streets, so it'll be good. I want people to come from all over the place. They come from all over the place. We've created some really good partnerships with, and I want to say this publicly, with the Park Plymouth. They've really been helpful to us. We've created the off-site parking that people go and park, not only in Kingston, but also here in Plymouth. At the courthouse, and we bus everybody in. There's no traffic jams. So there's a lot of really good things that have happened that we've learned over the years how to do. And I think of Desmond Egan. He's been really instrumental in really putting together that whole plan. And like I said, so every one of us have played a part in this to make it an event that we all can really be proud of. And I hope that it continues to grow, and I hope that we can continue to make Plymouth proud, because this is where it all began.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Any other comments from the board?
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, Ollie, thank you, and the hundreds of volunteers and the hours that go into it.
See, your $50 you
appreciate
gave me way back when has gone a long way. I appreciate you, Dickie. Thank you so much.
All
And,
right, no,
if anybody
thank
has
you.
any questions, feel free to call me, or I'm always available, obviously,
Okay,
God bless. Thank
thank
you.
you very much. Agricultural Commission, appointment. One-year term, 2-year term. Keith McDonald? Would you come up to the microphone, please?
Good evening. Keith McDonald, resident applicant for the Agricultural Commission.
Any questions from the board? Mr. Canty?
Mr. McDonald, could you tell us, we have your packet and materials, but could you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in the Agricultural Commission?
I've been a resident of Plymouth since 1997. In about the last year and a half, I got into recreational hobbyist beekeeping. I started with the Cape Cod Museum of Natural History and helping with their hive, and I've since progressed to having 2 hives on my property and 2 in Brewster that I take care of. And I'm interested in making sure that the beekeepers in Plymouth are represented in the Agricultural Commission. A lot of people don't realize that bees are part of the agricultural process, especially with the cranberry bogs. And it's one of those segments, I guess, of livestock that people don't immediately consider. They'll consider chickens, ducks, geese, goats, and so forth, but bees really get forgotten in that process. So I wanted to make sure that the commission did have an active beekeeper on board.
Okay. And is there anything that the Agricultural Commission is currently doing that you'd like to see them continue to do, or anything that they're not doing that you wish they would do from your perspective?
I'm concerned about some potential language changes that might affect the apiaries in Plymouth. But I think as a whole, things have been going very well, and I'm proud of the work that the current commission has done.
What is your concern about language changes that you alluded to?
That apiaries might be restricted to much larger parcels of land than are currently available for most households in Plymouth.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions.
Mr. Bletzer?
So you're familiar with the health regulations changes proposed?
Yes.
And have you, so, and your feeling is, what is your feeling on it, though? I mean, I've heard some concerns.
I think if
So-
that language is adopted, for one, I have several $1,000s in bee equipment that I would have to remove from my property because I'm only on 3/4 of an acre.
Yeah.
So that would affect my ability and a lot of beekeepers' ability to maintain their apiaries. I do have a state-registered apiary that is subject to MDR inspections,
Right.
so it's something I take very seriously.
So it sounds to me, and I've talked to some other members, that you have some work to do to
Yes.
come up with some proposals to maybe, to work with that board to maybe soften some of the changes. I'll use that word, soften.
Yes, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever is mutually agreeable.
Right, okay, good. Thank you.
Mr. Golden?
Thank you for being here tonight, Keith. It looks like there's a 1-year term and a 2-year term. Do you have a preference as to which you'd serve?
Whichever would work better for the board. If you'd prefer 2 years, we'll take the 2 years.
Thank you. Assuming that you are successful, and I think it's a pretty good chance, and you accomplish your stated goals to ensure that apiaries aren't restricted in a burdensome manner, would you want to stay on the commission? What kind of work would you want to
Yes,
focus on?
I believe I would stay on the commission. I do have, I have a close-knit neighborhood. A lot of my neighbors have livestock like chickens. I often have chickens roaming through my yard. So they've expressed concerns as well with some of the language changes. So I believe that I would prefer to stay on beyond the 2 years.
Excellent. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board, comments? Wish of the board?
I'll make a motion that we appoint him for the 2-year appointment for the Agricultural Committee.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Bletzer, second by Mr. Golden. Discussion? Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney, excuse me, I don't know where that came from. Mr. Canty?
Yes.
Mr. Bletzer?
Yes,
And Mr. Golden?
Yes.
All righty, unanimous. And myself, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Ay, ay, ay. All righty, going back to the Cultural Council. Patricia Cronin is online, Jade?
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Hi, Mrs. Cronin.
How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm good, thank you very much. I'm calling from work, so please bear with me.
Okay. Do you want to be on the Cultural Council? Reappointed?
Yes, I have been for the past 5 years.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions from the board? Mr. Canty?
Ms. Cronin, if you were to be reappointed, is there anything that the Cultural Council is currently doing that you would like to see them continue to do, or anything that they're not doing that you'd like to see them do in your next term?
I think it's going along very well since I joined 5 years ago. I know that there was a bit of a hiccup before that, but now everything under Chris and all the other folks, Donna and Diane and them. Everything's running smoothly and I love to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board.
Make a motion to reappoint Ms. Cronin to the 3-year term on the Cultural Council. Second.
Motion by Mr. Canty, second by Mr. Golden. Discussion? Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Canty?
Yes.
Mr. Blitzer?
Yes?
Mr. Golden?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Unanimous, and thank you.
Thank you.
Climate Action Net Zero, CANS Committee appointment. 1 2-year term. Cameron Cackley, how you doing? Good, thanks.
Thanks for having me. My name's Cam Cackley, relatively recent Plymouth resident. Been in my home for just over 2 years now. 2 small children at home. So, part of this effort, looking ahead to when they're my age or when they're my parents' age, what's this world's going to look like, and kind of spurred me to try to get involved locally and, build on some of the great work that's been going on at the Climate Action Net Zero Committee and see what I can do to help. Professionally, I've been kind of in residential energy efficiency and solar for about 10 years now. I was initially out of college doing energy audits for the Mass Save program, so climbing around attics and checking insulation levels and changing out light bulbs and helping homeowners kind of navigate the Mass Save program. And for the last 9 years or so, I've been working for a residential solar lender out of Boston called Sungage Financial across a variety of roles. So thank you for the consideration.
Mr. Blitzer?
Yeah. Cam, a question for you. What do you think of the plan, the downtown climate action plan that for the downtown that's been proposed?
Specific to downtown?
Yeah. Are you familiar with it?
I'm sorry, I'm not as familiar with the
Okay.
downtown one. I was mostly reviewing the kind of the Plymouth climate action and adaptation plan.
Yeah, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No,
I'm
no
sorry.
worries.
It's just,
No.
it's a new that our town manager actually has been talking about it a while, and he hired his climate resiliency department head to do projects like this, and it's something they're working on right now. So you should familiarize yourself with that. Well, if you get on this board, which it looks pretty good, like you're gonna get on there, you'll be working on this.
Well, yeah, I have to say I'm eager to dive into all those details for sure.
So, anyway, thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. Canty?
Yes. Mr. Cackley, is there anything that you think that the Climate Action Net Zero Committee is currently doing that you'd like to see them continue to do if you were to be appointed, or anything that they're not doing yet that you'd like to see them do were you to be appointed?
Look, I think generally, I would see my role if I were selected to, get there and learn and listen and try to see where I can and be helpful. The one thing that struck me about this plan, kind of the wider climate action advocacy, adaptation plan, was the breadth of it, right? And there's a lot to do, and so I want to kind of pitch in, and so I can imagine, the current members and future members being stretched a little thin, and so, thinking of ways where we can leverage, folks not on the committee, the rest of the community, folks who work in the town. I just have to imagine that's got to be a focus. But no, generally, and reviewing the plan, I feel like it's, again, incredibly broad and comprehensive and ambitious, and I want to be a part of that, implementing that.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, wish of the board.
Make a motion to appoint Mr. Cackley to the 2-year term on the Climate Action Net Zero Committee.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Canty, second by Mr. Blitzer. Discussion? Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Canty?
Yes.
Mr. Blitzer?
Yes, but I just want to add too, I want to thank you. It's good to see a young family guy getting involved in the town, and thank you for your service.
Happy to be here. Appreciate it.
Mr. Golden?
Yes.
And myself, yes. And thank you for applying.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate the time. Thank you.
Jade, is there anyone wishing to speak under public comment? Mr. Bell?
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. Thanks a lot. Listen, I just want to say, first of all, thanks all you guys for serving. First of all, Dan Bell, 9 Stetson Court down in Cedarville, Precinct 12, former town meeting member, and I really appreciate anybody that serves because I know how exhausting it can be. So what I wanted to talk about tonight is actually on your agenda for the 10th, which is the tax classification. And I just wanted to, not to jump ahead, but I wanted to let you guys know what my thoughts were on it. So that when you guys are debating whether to do anything about it, you've got some public input. I look at it as like, I think we really need to institute a tax classification for commercial property. I know in the past we've looked at it and it's been considered it's just not going to bring enough money to the table to do anything. But I really feel it's time to start considering that. And if you look at our peer communities being communities that are the size of Plymouth, then you've got Weymouth, you got Taunton, Framingham, all have a split tax rate. I just don't think it's fair for the residents to have to pay as much as people that have property that is actually giving them revenue. Just not fair. So anyways, that's my comments. I hope you guys consider that on the 10th when you're looking at the tax classification item on your agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Jade, anyone else online? No? Anyone in the audience want to speak up under public comment? No? Everett. Okay. Mr. Brandisi, Town Manager's Report.
Okay, good evening. I have lots of items to report, so bear with me this evening.
Okay.
I'm going to start with a number of announcements. The master planning workshops continue. We've already held one. Tomorrow at 6 p.m., there's a specific master plan workshop which will be held at South Middle School. This one's going to focus on future land and open space. And speaking of open space, it was reported this morning that the open space plan is in draft format, and we plan to open this up to public comment on December 1st. During the public comment period, so that'll last about 31 days through the month of December, there will be a meeting, there'll be a presentation in front of the select board on early December so that the board can provide input during the public comment period as well. Our open space plan currently expires on December 31st, so they are actively working to ensure that we don't expire so that we can continue to apply for state grants. So more to come on that. The dredging will begin this week. This is the long-awaited dredging program. We'll have a future groundbreaking ceremony on the dredging project up at the Jenny Grist Mill sometime in early December. Speaking of workshops, last week on November 14th, we had a downtown resiliency workshop. So this is the downtown resiliency project that Mr. Blesser referenced, was presented by Mr. Michael Cahill from the Department of Energy and the Environment. So we are holding these workshops trying to gather public input for the design of the downtown project. There will also be a meeting with the Natural Resources and Coastal Beaches Committee this coming Thursday at 7 p.m. This is going to be presented by Nate Cristoforio from the Department of Energy and Environment, who is going to talk about cutting approximately 30 acres of land. This is very strategic cutting. Then they'll do controlled burns in 30 acres of the state forest. So again, trying to gather more public input for some of the projects that are ongoing here in town. More importantly, to the board, the SHOPS program continues to come to fruition. So on December 2nd, we will finally receive our SHOPS kiosk. Remember, we had to change our approach on how we collect SHOPS and syringes here in town. We were working with BAMSI over up on Court Street, who has helped us in the interim and will continue to collect used SHOPS. But effective December 2nd, we will get the SHOPS kiosk, will be delivered to the Public Health Division here at Town Hall, and then we will be able to actively accept used needles and syringes here at Town Hall and Public Health Division, so.
Very nice.
Thank you. And so again, credit to the Health Director, Health Commissioner, and the Police Chief to putting this program together. And, yes, Fire Chief, sorry, not Police Chief. And then the new digital signs have been installed over at the Cal. So this new signage is part of our age and dementia-friendly program. So it'll allow those folks who enter the building to have easily visible signage here at the Cal. So we continue to move forward with that program as well. Old Sandwich Road and Sandwich Road are being repaved by Eversource. They're doing some public utility infrastructure improvements on the stretch of road from River Street to Sacrifice Rock Road. So just want folks to be aware that that stretch of Old Sandwich and Sandwich Road is going to be repaved curb to curb in that area over the next 2 weeks. Speaking of some projects, infrastructure projects that have been ongoing discussions in South Plymouth, the DPW Director, Mr. Bill Coyle, and our Assistant DPW Director, Mr. James Downey, met with Mass DOT today. And so some of the information they provided this morning speaks to the fact that the Herring Pond Road intersection, which again, I know Mr. Golden can speak directly to, and the Cedarville Steering Committee have had a lot of conversations about, that intersection has been approved by the state at this time. They are stating the next step for the town is to submit an application for that project to be put on the state TIP program. So again, this is a state road, so it would have to go on the state TIP program. And right now, the waiting period for the TIP program is about 6 years. But it has already been approved. We just have to get on the TIP program for funding for the construction in and of itself. And then there's the other intersection over at Hedges Pond. That project would be considered a new project. That's a project that the Economic Development Foundation has slated approximately $2 million to go back to the town to make improvements on that intersection. So that's a new project that the DPW Director met with the state on today. So we'll get more information on that. But what I can tell you, it does not make sense to combine those two projects into one. It'll delay the improvements at Herring Pond Road if we were to combine them. So we're going to take them separately so that we can get one project done faster than the two combined.
If I may, that's good news to hear, and that is what I was talking about 2 weeks back when the gentleman was applying for I think it was the Roads Advisory Committee. That's exact. I didn't have the details that you have, but now that I know we've been planning to do that as a community, so good to see, because it's needed.
It is. Both of those two areas are congested, and I know that the folks that live in that area of town, have asked the DPW and the Select Board in the past to try to make some improvements there. So we're making progress, but these are multi-million-dollar projects. I would probably say in the $5 to $6 million range each one. So it's certainly going to take a lot of time in order to to make those improvements. So more to come on that. I'll circle back with the DPW director on the Hedges Pond Road and what came out of their meeting this morning. And then the Clark Road intersection as well. So we've received lots of calls from folks in Pine Hills to try to make some improvements over at Clark Road at the on-ramps. So we're trying to work with Mass DOT on that to see what improvements we can make. You know, there were some suggestions that Pine Hills has donated land for a slip ramp. We don't think a slip ramp is possible at this time, but there are other possibilities that we're working with Mass DOT on. So more to come on those improvements as well. Moving off of roads, the Memorial Hall study, which we talked a lot about, we just awarded a contract with the same firm that designed this building. We've awarded a contract to, they'll be working sometime, they'll begin their work in January to do a complete top to bottom analysis of that building, everything from the water damage, from the lighting to the HVAC, so that we have a better sense of really the full body of work that it's going to take to bring that building back to its former self. So that work will commence, again, using ARPA dollars in the next, I would say, month or so. I want to congratulate firefighter Joshua Daubert for receiving the Meritorious Conduct Award. Yesterday at Mechanics Hall in Worcester, the state held their annual firefighter awards. And one of our firefighters, Joshua Daubert, received the Meritorious Conduct Award for his rescue while off duty over at the state boat ramp. There was a fishing tournament this past summer, and a disabled person fell into the water, and he was off duty at the tournament and made a rescue that day. So congratulations to him. We hope that we'll see Mr. Daubert here in front of the select board so that we can recognize him for his great work. Station 5 continues to progress. So I just want folks to be aware of this one. So in the past, you would have seen the operations come out of the front of the building. They're going to start moving the work to the front of the building, which means operations will exit in the back of the building. So if you drive past Station 5, folks may think that the fire station is closed. It's actually not closed. It's just that they're working in the front of the building, so all operations will exit out of the back of the building. So I just want folks to be aware of what's happening. We're hoping that our firefighters will move back into the building by the end of December. That project was slated for full completion by the end of December, but we're thinking we're going back in the building by the end of December and then finish all the punch list items by mid-spring. The Elderly and Disabled Tax Committee has made 12 awards for a total of $12,000. So just to remind folks, we went to town meeting, asked to create this special fund where now we seek donations from our residents that submit a sum of money into this fund so that we can award up to $1,000 to any elderly person or disabled person to reduce their taxes by $1,000. And so we have a committee that's set up to do that. They review the applications. They ensure that folks meet the criteria that's set forth. And so right now we have a balance of about $26,000, which I think is amazing that these are donations from our residents. We have a balance of $26,000, and this year we'll be making 12 awards. So great work by the committee. And just two more quick items. The OPEB valuation has gone down again. So we're now at $566 million of our OPEB valuation. When I started here 3 years ago, we were pushing almost $900,000. Sorry, $900 million. Thank you. He's correcting me today, so I'm happy he's here. So it was about $900 million. And in large part, the reason why the valuation has dropped was because of the new PEC agreement, health insurance agreement. Those changes significantly reduced the total exposure for our OPEB liability. So again, it dropped it was about 575 last year, now it's 566, so dropped about $10 million. And last, I just want to just kind of give an update from the town clerk's office on the election a couple weeks back. So we had approximately 40,000 people who voted, which represents about 80% of our registered voters voted on election day. But interesting statistic is that of the 40,000 folks that voted, 23,000 were either early voting, in-person early voting, or mail-in voting, which represents 57% of those voters. And then the other 17,000 were day of voting, so which represents the other 43%. But I think really what this is leading us towards is to really strongly consider consolidating our polling locations, given the fact that 57% of our voters are voting before election day in and of itself. So the town clerk knows that this is a goal of the select board. She's working on a presentation, hopefully by December, maybe January, where we can come back with a couple different options for the board to consider to consolidate polling locations for the May election. So I know you already know this, but it's up to the select board to determine the number of voting locations. So we'll be seeking your advice probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks on that issue. So pending any questions, that's all I have for tonight.
Mr. Bledsoe?
Yeah, I just have a couple of questions. On the Memorial Hall, because it's such a vital part of our downtown business, it's also very important to our veterans. And by the way, kudos to the Recreation Department, Joe Goldberg, everybody that had something to do with with that being refurbished. The flags, the Hall of Flags, it looks great, the painting and everything else, and good for them. If anybody hasn't seen it, get down there and see it. But that hall is very important. This is a long time coming, this study. We're going to get the ARPA funding for it. I believe you want to use that. Once the study, how long, Derek, do you think, before we can see something happen down there? I mean, we have to do a study, and what's your time frame?
I'm thinking the study's probably at least 9 months to do the full study. And then we're hoping that we'll probably have to phase in the work. Right now, we have budgeted in the capital improvement plan $10 million for this building. So one, we'd have to come up with the $10 million, but we're thinking that the total cost for renovations could be upwards of $15 to $20 million. So
Can we get some federal grant money for this?
federal grant money, we can work with our grant writer on that. Typically, there's not money available for facilities, for buildings. You know, the only time we really see money available for buildings is through the schools, through the MSBA.
Right.
And then there's a state-supported library program for new libraries. Those are the only two grants we've seen in the past for facilities like this.
Well, I hope we can get this done as quick as possible, because it needs it. It needs a lot of work. And it's, I know you've talked about this, you want it to be a premier venue in the South Shore. And it's very important to our economy. So that's it. The polling, what you talked about, that's very important too. 57% shows that really voting's working. There's no reason to have 16 polling places. It just doesn't make sense. It's expensive. We can't get the volunteers. So hopefully we can get that done sooner than later.
Yeah, in a typical local election in May, turns out about 7,500 voters, which is very different than the presidential election, which turns out 40,000.
But in 7,500 with early voting, how many are going to come out the day of?
Right.
So,
Exactly.
yeah. Thank you.
Mr. Canty?
Derek, you mentioned a project being funded with ARPA dollars. So I know when we were given sort of the most recent razzle-dazzle by our county commissioners, there was talk of some other communities in Plymouth County may not use all their ARPA dollars, and obviously there's a time frame that those monies need to be spent. So do we have any knowledge of any other money that may be available? Or are we in communication with the county about our willingness to accept money that may be left on the table?
We certainly have notified the county that if money is available, we would have plenty of projects to use those funds for. They haven't shown any indication that monies will be available, but we're certainly, we're ready. We have, now that all the bids and RFPs are coming back from the projects that the select board have approved, we're starting to see some balances, and we plan on coming back to the select board to appropriate some of the balances of the projects that are already been funded. So, we could see upwards of $350,000 to $400,000 from projects that have already been funded and some money coming back. So we already have a long list of capital improvement projects that are already shovel-ready. And so we are prepared to take quick action with those dollars. So whether they're funds that we're taking back amongst ourselves or dollars that are available at the county level, we have plenty of projects to move quickly.
Thank you.
Can I just add to that? I don't think it was razzle-dazzle. It was the county commissioners stating fact, at least the one that I talked to, that they're spending 100% of that fund. They're not giving any back. So if a town doesn't spend the money, they will use it. And we've already said that we need some more funding. So if that's available, we will have a chance of getting more money. So that's fact. So anyway, hopefully there is, because there was still a couple of towns that hadn't spent their money.
We have plenty of projects to spend the county's money whenever they're ready.
Excuse me. Any other comments? Okay. Thank you. Derek, are we going to be open Wednesday or?
So we've worked with all the departments. They've all have stated that they can prepare their workload to shift to Monday and Tuesday of next week. So we believe that we have just one more check we want to make, but we think that we can close on Wednesday for the remainder of the week and not pose any significant service hiccups.
Good. Okay. Thank you. Anything under new business? Mr. Canty?
Derek, I was downtown yesterday, and I've noticed it before, but something that I see and then I forget about, and there's banners up on Court Street and Water Street from celebrating the 400. They're 1620 to 2020 that are like sun bleached to basically being white on poles, and they look awful. And you can barely I think they used to say where businesses, like certain businesses were, or like types of businesses, and you basically can't read them. They just look like white plastic. I took a picture of one. But there's some on Court Street, there's some on Water Street and Main Street Extension as well. So obviously with a lot of people coming for Thanksgiving, as well as just the general decor down there, if we could at some point take them down sooner rather than later. I think they've more than outlived their usefulness based on their current level of, yes.
Yeah, well, that's something we can follow up on. We are already planning to take down the American flags for the winter. So while they're making that run, it makes sense to take down these other deteriorated banners.
Thank you.
Yep.
While we're on the topic, they were asking if the American flags are going to be stored over at the Legion or if the town was going to, I mean, I don't need an answer now, but whoever's in charge, just get a hold of Beth Lynch over there and.
Sure. Yep, we can follow up on that.
Thank you. Mr. Mahoney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Three things. Two are committee updates. I'm the liaison to the Little Red Schoolhouse, and I just want to let everybody know that 2 weeks from Saturday night is Pearl Harbor Day. So that's Saturday, December 7th, but the Little Red Schoolhouse obviously is our iconic building down in the village of Cedarville. And Santa Claus will be going there, and they'll have a Christmas tree lighting. And that is 4 to 6 p.m. that night, and Santa Claus will arrive, I believe, on a fire truck somewhere between 4:30 and 4:45. So that's one. The second one is last Thursday night, the Community Preservation Committee met. We have already put to bed all the articles that we will bring to April of '25 town meeting. The December meeting was canceled. The committee will not meet again until January. There's some debt reduction there. But the other thing I took away from that is what affordable housing came in. Oak Street is almost to completion with respective individuals being able to move in. And they assured us, and hopefully Derek can stay on top of this, is that there will be a ceremony, hopefully soon with respect to, christening that building down there on Oak Street. So I'm hoping if you hear anything, Mr. Brindisi, that you'll keep us in the loop on that. And then lastly, 8 years ago in 2016, there was a significant drought, and I think psychologically, I and many others, we equate droughts with summertime. And in 2016, it was pretty significant. There was a negative impact on our water system and our ability to deliver the baseline level of water to our constituents. And this one has kind of, what I'm seeing going on around the state in eastern Massachusetts is pretty significant. You're seeing these fires get a lot of press. And I know that we're in the area of the South Shore and the Cape Cod, which is not as bad as the rest of the state. But my question, Mr. Brindisi, is that how has this lack of rain for the last couple of months affected our supply of water?
Those are great questions, and so there's a lot to report on that question. So I'd start by saying that having conversations with the water superintendent, he has stated that our water levels are still adequate, and he has, right now at this time, he doesn't have any concerns of what's going on with the water supply. He said he is seeing a drop in the water usage because of the time of year, and the drought hasn't had a negative impact on those water levels. That being said, up until today, when you look at the Massachusetts drought status, the town of Plymouth was at a significant drought level, which is a level 2. But we were informed just about 3 or 4 hours ago that the southeastern section of Massachusetts is now at a critical level. That just changed today. So we will be working both with the DPW director, with the fire chief, on issuing a statement to the community because of the fire hazards that are posed, and then the new drought level status we're in as, again, a critical level. Part of that messaging will be to promote various strategies to reduce water usage, because we don't know how long this is going to last. We know there's going to be some water, some rain in the next couple of days. I think they're predicting about 2 inches, but that's not going to have a dramatic impact on the water level. So we do plan on messaging it moving forward, given the current status we're in of critical drought.
Okay, so last thing, and you just mentioned strategizing with respect to water conservation. This board, for the first time, apparently in the community's history, we implemented a conservation strategy on our water rates for 90 days, I think July 1st through September 30th, where we tacked on an extra 10% in order to attempt to promote conservation. So if those numbers aren't in from finance there with respect to what occurred as far as usage and incremental revenue, I would just hope that as soon as those are in, that data is sent along to the board so we can look at it.
Okay.
Anything else? Mr. Bledsoe?
Yeah, just one thing, and a downtown business area, I was having coffee Sunday morning early, and there was throw up all over the sidewalk. And I've seen it more than once, several times I've seen it. And I just want to remind the businesses, and I'm not blaming any one business about this, but we are a tourist town, and, you know, if you see something like that, you know, whether it's coming from your business or not, it doesn't matter. Whether it's at night when you're closing at night, or whether it's first thing in the morning when you, even if it's not from your business, take a couple of buckets of water, throw it on the sidewalk, get it off the sidewalk. Just keep it, try and keep it clean. Sweep the sidewalks. You know, have some pride in our downtown. We got to work together. It's very important that we do that. That we take care of that. It was kind of disgusting. And the place I was at, there was a young lady working, and she went out, and I actually offered to help her throw some buckets of water down, and she took care of it. She was great. There was nobody in there. But, I'm sure it didn't come from her business, but, you know, she agreed with me, and it looked like crap. I want to segue right into, I know I asked her for getting a sidewalk cleaner for the downtown, something that, I know it's very expensive, but it's something that I would love to see that we can purchase. I know they tried one out, but it was a sweeper and we need something that scrubs and cleans. So if we can get it in our budget at some point to get it, whether it's through a grant, you know, for the downtown, something to help keep the downtown clean, I would like to see that. And we can use it on weekend mornings after, because that's when our downtown's the busiest, or we can use it, you know, in season to keep it clean. But in the meantime, everybody's got to work together. Just maintain the front of your place, make it look good. And I know you plan to revitalize the downtown, you know, with the brick sidewalks and all the different things you want to do, you know, so we really want to put some money into our downtown and revitalize it. So until we can get to that, you know, we got to just be mindful of that. I've seen this too many times, so when it's quite frankly, it's disgusting. So anyway, thank you.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think like, as you pointed out, that businesses need to take some ownership and some responsibility to at least keep the area in front of their stores clean. You see that in a lot of other tourist areas, that the businesses
Treat it like,
have pride in what they do, and sometimes you don't see
treat it like
that.
your home. That's how I always started. So anyway, thank you.
Anything else? Letters? Old business? Motion?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Be safe and enjoy your holiday with your family. Thank you.